last 3 rounds, we've gone 7 for 9, 7 for 9, and 7 for 9. But, although it is a good result, it isn't a perfect result. We want 9 for 9, and I reckon that's what we're going to get in round 8. Who is going to win in round 8? All those questions answered. Let's get into it. The Doggies are playing at Marvel Stadium. They do not look like a good football team. And if Port are playing at Adelaide Oval, they don't look like a good football team. And for those that are thinking they did beat West Coast, yeah, playing a bye doesn't really exist here. They've been poor at Adelaide Oval more than once. I think they reverse that. I think such an ugly win in a trip to Cairns that should have galvanised the group, I think that's done good things for Port. I'm not saying they're going to get on a massive roll, but if they can put this to bed against the Dogs like last year's preliminary final, they can actually get 2022, their base, their platform built, and it's only going to do good things for them in the long run. So I'm actually going to go Port Adelaide here. Ollie Wines is in good form. Boak and Gray are doing their thing, as we know. They do need their youngsters to step up. It is Sam Powell-Pepper's 100th game, so congratulations to him. But Port get the job done here. I think this game's going to be closer than what a lot of people think, mainly because Freo are out with COVID, and there is a mental lapse that can happen when you go from beating a contender to playing the cellar dwellers. So I think North are going to keep it close in the first half. Freo should be too good. I know they do have some COVID problems, and North should absolutely look to punish them. And if Freo do lose this game, I think people, especially on the Western Seaboard, are going to kick up a stink about the COVID rules. And yeah, I kind of agree, kind of don't agree, but that's not what the video's for. It's who I think is going to win. I don't think you can actively tip North at the moment against anyone, let alone a team that went to GMHBA and beat the Cats. So the Dockers for me, but I would be surprised and really disappointed in North if this game is north of 20 points. I think people are overreacting to Dusty coming back and the 109-point win that the Tigers had over the Eagles, but that overreaction is causing people to think that Collingwood are going to get this done easily. Now, I don't think either of these teams are going to win by big margins, and I've got a lot of faith in the Pies, but considering the Pies are struggling to score on a consistent basis against good defenses, Gold Coast are not a good defense, and the fact that their defenders are going to give Tom Lynch and Jack Riewoldt a lot of space with the way that they defend, I think Richmond win, but I don't think this is going to be a blowout either way. The Pies are in a magnificent space to come back up the ladder in the next couple of years. Richmond, they're hanging on to the hopes of still being relevant come the end of September. I give Richmond an edge but honestly, this is game of the round. I hope Dusty does go well in his return, but I'm not expecting 30-3 from him. I hope he kicks a goal so the crowd and his teammates can get around him, but when it comes to the fundamentals of who's the better football team and who I think wins on the day, it's still Richmond for me. Gold Coast have done this a couple of times to the Swannies, gone to the SCG and beaten them. I remember Lockie Weller having an absolute day out a couple of years ago. I just can't see it happening here. I think Mills goes to Miller. Jeez, don't try saying that 5 times too fast. But I think Mills does go to Miller, and that's going to be an almighty battle. We've seen Mills do the job on Dangerfield and Mitchell, and he's done a fantastic job. And he's one of the leaders in the Brownlow algorithm for a reason. He's been a star, and we know Took can hopefully get on a roll. He looked like he was back to peak form last week, and they're going to need him and Real and others at their best in order to get the job done. I just can't trust Gold Coast's ability to score without Ben King. I tip my cap to Mabior Chol and Levi Casbolt this year, who have had to fill that spot as the number 1 and 2 banana, and I think they've done it well enough, but if Sydney are as serious a contender as I believe they still are, even though they lost to Brisbane last week, they get the job done here. Swans win. Fascinating game, this one. Are the Giants back in town? What's going on with the Cats? Bit of ooh-la-la, but oh goodness me, I'm going the Cats in this one. I don't trust GWS's tall defence at all. Sam Taylor's trying his guts out, I understand that. And guys like Isaac Cumming are not going to be able to intercept as strongly, considering that Hawkins and Cameron are going to be the focus. But for the Cats to win this game, they're going to need the likes of Dalhouse, Close. These guys, Brian Myers, are going to need to score as well. I think they can. I think it was a really good win for the Giants last week. Again, this isn't a game that I think they're going to get smacked in, but the Cats are the better team, and even though they're away from home, I think they get the job done. Does the question need to be asked? No Stringer, no Bombers. I guess we'll find out on Marvel Stadium. But the Dons are the number 1 team in the competition for disposal efficiency. They're the number 15 team in the competition for meters gained. So what does that tell you? Well, they can hit a target. It's just that the target's standing right in front of them. This cheap handball crap, which analysts have done to death, it's frustrating even the most optimistic of Essendon fans, is not really a system that's going to work. And if the Hawks adopt a similar game style that they have for most of the season, especially in the Port, Geelong and Melbourne games, and even Carlton, in taking the game on, attacking the corridor, I think they're going to do well. I think this is a game in which Jai Newcombe is going to have to go back to sort of his tackling best in this game. Maybe a 30 disposal, 2 tackle game, whilst that would be fantastic for his development. I think the best way to beat the Bombers would be to limit Parrish and Merritt's ability to do what they need to do in this game. Because if you're a Bombers fan, you're thinking they need to get the ball and carry it. They'll try to do it more this week. And we will, as the Hawks fan that I am, are going to need to stop them. I believe Jai is a reason that can happen. I'd much rather see Jai have 20 touches and 8 tackles than 30 touches and 2 tackles. I think the Hawks are the better team. The Dons, they are struggling to score. No Harrison Jones still. And their forward options are a bit more limited with Will Snelling and Jake Stringer out. So I think the Hawks get it done, even though the Hawks at Marvel Stadium are not that good. And fingers crossed, my man Dylan Moore continues to dominate. He was outstanding last week. But I think the Hawks, it's only the second time I've tipped them this year, have a win. Brisbane. Coming into this week, I can absolutely see why people think St Kilda have got a chance and Melbourne do have to lose at some point. I think we're kind of overreacting, or I think the media is kind of overreacting, just how the Saints can get the job done. I don't think the Saints have got just enough power to get past the Demons. They're absolutely flying at the moment. The D's have had periods this year where they have played some genuinely bad football and are still undefeated. I don't think the Saints can punish them enough. And if there is a breath of wind and the conditions aren't picture perfect, the Saints aren't going to be able to kick a set shot to save their lives. I think Melbourne are going to punish the Saints too much. I imagine a 4-goal win here for the Ds. They're not going to go through the season undefeated, but I don't think they take a loss here. Melbourne for me. Adelaide have still got to play West Coast and North Melbourne twice this year. So that's already 4 more wins. If they can get a win here against the Blues, they need to be put into the finals contender discussion, mainly because of their fixture, yes, and it would be a bit like Essendon, and they would get there a bit early, but it's all about how they'd respond from that. Now, they're up against a Carlton side that are going really, really well, and they had a poor performance last week, but Adelaide have got to be looking at this game going, if we win this, there is a final spot with our name on it, and that's a really good attitude to have. Now, I don't think they're going to win this game, because if Carlton are as serious a contender, or they want to be a top 4 side, then this is a game that they just must win. McKay and Curnow are going to do fantastic things. And I think Adelaide's midfield, although Laird and Ben Keys, who is going to coach the Crows this weekend, what an amazing story that is, they pale in comparison to Cripps and to Walsh. And when you add in Hewitt, if he plays, Chera, Kennedy, the Blues are just too strong over the park. But the likes of Taylor Walker on Jacob Wiedering is going to be a good lineup. It's up to Elliot Himmelberg and Lockie Gallant in order to get the job done. But it is the Blues for me. They are the better team after all. So those are the tips for this week, guys. What do you think? Comment below. Let me know. And I'm enjoying picking a player to kick a bag in a week, which is a really fun exercise for me to do. This week, I don't really want to pick Hawks for this segment, but I'm going to. Luke Breust to kick 4 this week is my pick. Who do you think is going to have a day out in front of the sticks this week? Can't wait to hear from you. Hope you enjoy your weekend, guys. I'll see you very soon. Goodbye.